All right, guys, welcome back to Key Knowledge 4 of this final outcome of Unit 2. And this one we're calling Job Analysis. So here is our study design, and there's where it sits. Job analysis and its relationship to job design and related documentation, job descriptions, and job specifications. So what is this one all about? So look, in the last couple of key knowledge dot points, we were looking at identifying our staffing needs. And the last thing we did is look at how technology can impact on those. So now we've identified our staffing needs, we need to identify exactly what positions we need to hire and what activities, duties, responsibilities, etc. are going to be included in each role that we recruit, basically. So to do this, we go through a couple of processes. Okay, we go through, first off, what we call a job analysis, and then we can do a bit of job design, and using all of that information that we come up, going through those two processes, we come up with two documents, a job description and a job specification. So in this video, we're going to talk about each of those four things in a little more detail, basically, to tell you what they involve and what they're used for. So key to point out here that the job analysis and the job design are processes that we go through, and we use the information that we gather from those processes to create these two documents, the job spec and the job description. Okay. So first off, let's start with job analysis. Okay. So this is basically process where we're studying a job to determine what activities, what responsibilities that particular job includes, and what skills, qualifications, experience, etc. is it going to be necessary for the person who's going to actually be performing that job to kind of come with. So how do we do this? A few different ways. You might do one or more of these different options. Interview the current job holder. That's, of course, if you have someone already doing this job within the business. If not, you could talk to someone in an equivalent type of business, I guess. But that's the first option, to actually interview the current job holder to find out exactly what it is that they do. Questionnaires, same kind of thing. Rather than interviewing, you provide questionnaires to people, asking them about the job that they do. Observation, pretty straightforward. Actually watch them doing the job to get a feel for what it is that they do. You might revert to logbooks, work diaries, and even supervisor reports. So 5 different options that you could use. You're probably not going to be using all of those. You would choose maybe a couple of those to get all the information you need for your job analysis, to tell you what that job, a description of that job. What does that job really look like? Job design. So this is a process of creating a job that enables the business to achieve its goals, whilst at the same time motivating and rewarding the employee. Okay, so this is what it says on the tin, job design. We're designing a job here. So this happens once we've collected all the information from the job analysis, okay? And the idea here is that you might be creating new jobs that don't already exist in your business. So you're creating kind of from scratch a new position, or there might be jobs that already exist, but they need to be redesigned for one reason or another. Maybe, the responsibilities and the duties are maybe a bit outdated. Maybe there's some technology that now exists that's kind of replaced some of what that original job entailed. It might be that as it works out, the job is not rewarding, it's not motivating, it's not interesting to people. Like I said, that's a really key part of designing a job, is to make sure that you're keeping people motivated, keeping people interested. So you might have a combination of these two things, either designing brand new jobs or redesigning already existing jobs. Now, you're aiming to design jobs, like I just said. Second one there, providing employees with variety and challenge. Okay, the key is you don't want your people to become bored. If they get bored, they're going to look for another job, leave the business, and we'll find out later that the cost of recruiting new people is pretty high. So you want to keep that to a minimum. So once you've got good people on board, you want to retain them. You want to keep them with you, and possibly even progress through more senior jobs over a period of time. But you certainly don't want them getting bored in the job that they're doing and leaving the business and joining a competitor or something. And the other thing, you're looking to design the jobs that give the employees tasks and responsibilities that also match the skills, qualifications, and experience that you're kind of asking for. Okay, so the job has to be pitched at the right level. So that's the two key parts to your job design. Then we got into the job description and the job specification. So like I said, these are documents that you produce. And businesses basically have, particularly a large business, will have these documents for every job that exists within the organization. So this school, we have a job description, a job specification for a classroom teacher. There'll be another one for an assistant principal, another one for a principal. All the jobs that we have in the school, there'll be a JD and a JS that exists for them. And in any large businesses which has a decent size human resources department, they will also have JDs and JSs relating to every job that they have within their business. Now, just a tip, job description, job specification, as you'll kind of see in a minute, job specification, I tend to think of being more a person specification. So if you're kind of getting confused about the two, the JD and the JS, the job specification, it kind of more describes the person that is going to be suitable for doing the job. So like I say, in a minute, that will kind of make a bit more sense to you. But we call it a job specification, but kind of in my mind, it's really more of a person specification. So why are these two documents, the JS and the JD, why are they important? So they have a few uses, okay? First off, they provide a detailed description of every job and therefore every person that you have within the business. And as I said, bigger businesses will have these for every person. They can also be used to write job ads, which is a really key one. And we're going to come back to that in a minute. And they can also be provided to newly appointed employees. So one thing we're going to talk about later on in the outcome is an employee induction, which is a process you go through when you are welcoming a new employee to your business. And they'll often get an induction pack, and part of that pack will often be the job description that relates to the job that you're recruiting them to do. So they're very, very clear. It's down there in black and white, what it is that they're expected to do. Okay. But I'm going to focus here for a minute on this, using these documents to write job ads. And you absolutely do. So, for 10 or so years before teaching, I was a recruiter and I did this on a daily basis. I spent a lot of time writing job ads, and my starting point when I'm writing a job ad was always to get hold of the job description and the job specification for that particular job. Always my starting point. Now, the structure of a good job ad. So if you went into Seek and started punching into, looking at some job ads that are up there at the moment, you should notice, and not all of them are going to be like this because not everybody can write a good job ad, but you will find most professionally written job ads follow kind of a similar structure. Have a little bit first off about the company. Then they're going to have a little bit, and this is, like a paragraph. So maybe a paragraph about the company, a paragraph about the role that the job is advertising. So what duties, what responsibilities the person would have. Then some information about the successful candidate that could apply for this job and is going to end up getting this job. And then finally, just some information on how to apply. Generally, if it's in Seek, you click a button. Now, it's key to remember that, like I said, you use these JD and the JS as your starting point for your job ad, and it's really here that you use them. So when you're describing the role in your job ad, what you're doing is, you're looking at the job descriptions. You've got the job description in front of you, and you're writing that part of the job ad based off of the job description. And then when you're writing about the successful candidate, you're now referring to the job specification, because that's going to tell you what the person basically needs to bring to the table to be able to do the job. Okay. So let's show you a couple of examples of that. So I just went into Seek the other day and just did a bit of a random search on a couple of different jobs. This one, an operations and recruitment coordinator. So that's what, if you clicked on the actual ad, you would have got into here. And if you click in further, this is what the job looked like. So think back what I just said about that structure. So there's a bit of information about the company. just so you know what type of business it is you're applying for. Of course, some ads might be for a company that we've all heard of, we're all familiar with, but there's obviously a lot of businesses out there that you could apply to that you actually don't know much about them. So this is just a bit of introduction to the business so that you know what you're applying, what business you're applying to. Then, like I said, about the role. So here is a little summary, just a little précis about the role. Underneath that, what we're looking for. So if you look at that, that's a bit of an introduction for the type of person that we're looking for. So we have about a company, we have about the role, we have about the person. And then further down, it went into a lot more detail. So the duties and responsibilities are listed. And again, that would have come straight from the job description. So whoever was writing this job ad would have had in front of them the job description, and all of that information would have come straight out of that. And then the criteria, as they call it here, look at that. That's the person specification. So someone that's able to meet deadlines, someone with strong communication skills, ability to work with minimal supervision, but also as part of a team, all that sort of stuff. So again, you can see we've got our job description, duties and responsibilities, and we've got our person criteria, which has come from the job specification. Okay, so you can see that structure I was talking about actually in play. And look, here's another one, HR officer at a hotel up on the Gold Coast. Again, exactly the same. So a little bit about the company, a bit about the specific hotel, a little bit about the role, but then again, key responsibilities, which would have been written using the job description for that particular job. And then the successful candidate will have, which is like the criteria in the previous one. Again, that's just describing the person. So basically, if you're looking at this ad and you think you might be interested, you look at the successful candidate will have stuff there. And if you think you tick all or most of those boxes, then this is potentially the kind of job that you could be going for. And that is it. That is job analysis. Pretty straightforward. Nothing too complicated about that. I will see you in the next video for Key Knowledge 5. Cheers for now.